Hey, welcome on into Mind Mine, and welcome to the full release of Grind Survivors. I jumped into the demo previously, you could check out that video if you like, but I had a blast with it, so I had to dive in. Now, with this, instead of jumping in as Cascade, which you get to play in the demo, as well as the first character you get to play in this release of the game, I decided to grind, literally, to get Solara. So the interesting thing with Cascade is the Bulletstorm ability. You get +2 to bounce and 100% shooting range. Plus, everything is converted into bounce from pierce, so it converts all piercing to bounce. So at this point, you have a lot of wave clear with Bulletstorm. So this is really a buff, if you will. It gives you some additional abilities. Now, with Solara though, her ability is a bit different. She gets Railgun, powerful shot that pierces through enemies, dealing increased damage based on the number of weapon projectiles. Ability gains additional shot for every 2 HP. So for 2 hearts, you get an additional projectile from this railgun. So if you have 4 hearts, you're going to actually have 2 projectiles, one going out of the front of Solara and one going out of the back. And it'll keep adding on as you go. The most I've had thus far has been 4, which has been a lot of fun. But what's really different about the railgun is that it's an ability that isn't a buff. It doesn't add additional features, it really is its own weapon. So now not only can you pick from weapons like the shotgun and the Telsa gun and other weapons like that, but you also have this built-in weapon, which is almost like a support shotgun in many respects. And what's great about it is that if you lower the cooldown on this ability, it can be absolutely absurd. So we're going to go with a very specific build here. We're going to go with Solara, we're going to go with the Telsa gun, and on top of that, we're going to do a few more things. First off, we're going to grab the Ascended trait if we can get lucky enough in our rolls during a mission. Now, this will buff us for 5 seconds after our ability is activated. So if the ability has a very small cooldown, it's going to constantly be proccing. This will give us a 30% to damage, reload, and attack speed, as well as 15% to move speed. Now, what's even better is that if the ability cooldown is less than 5 seconds, it will refresh the ability automatically, and you will be perma buffed. So instead of it going 5 seconds, ending, waiting for the activation again, it will just keep renewing itself, which is awesome. And with Solara, we're going to use the Telsa weapon. And with that weapon, there's a specific rune that I want to make sure to use. And that is Bloodlust. For each killed enemy gain, damage plus 0.05%. This bonus resets after reload. Now, the thing about the Telsa gun is it takes a long time, or a fairly long time, before you ever reload. So at this point, you're racking up that additional damage. It's not a huge amount, but every little bit counts, especially when you're going on higher difficulties. So this is going to feed directly into Telsa. I also have things like Arsonist, where we gain 100% burn damage, because I also have Blazing, with 50% chance apply burn on enemies in your pickup range each time you travel 12 meters. I also am using Snail, enemies movement speed goes to a -20%. Finisher, automatically kill enemies below 20% HP, excluding bosses and specials. We're also doing Priest, for each cleansed altar, gain 1% damage. And then Chaotic Bullets, all your bullets have a 10% chance to apply random status effects on enemies, which of course if it's a burn, that then goes into Arsonist once again. And with this, we have the Bloody Telsa gun. Hits multiple enemies instantly. Fast fire rate, low damage, large ammo capacity. So that large ammo capacity is going to feed into Bloodlust. Cleansing the altars, Bloodlust, among other things, will be amping this damage up much more. Also, it's a very high roll for damage, as you can see right here. We have a decent amount of spread, which I feel like for a weapon like the Telsa gun is fine, honestly. Kind of like a shotgun depending on your aim with it, like what is your core goal with that shotgun. We have a high amount of ammo, attack speed, reload, crit chance, crit damage, and range. We have the maximum amount of range. And for affixes, we have Ashes modifier, pickup range, ability reload, dash distance, and purple XP chance. So with this, we'll be getting experience and hopefully leveling up quick, getting what we need, especially when it comes to the ability cooldown. We're getting a really good dash distance. The Ash is a nice to have, not required, but nice to have. Pickup range is good quality of life, but then the ability reload at 35% is also going to be a huge help. Alright, let's see here. Chilling Touch, Incendiary Bullets, Aiming, and we have Electromancy, Electrify. I'm going to go with the Burn because it also feeds into our runes. I personally really like the Telsa Gun. As it says, it's not one of the strongest, it isn't one of the highest damage, but it has everything else that I'm really looking for in a weapon, and so with that, I can just build up the damage. It's kind of nice because I can just focus more of my energy on the ability cooldown as well as on the damage of the weapon itself. And also, Fire Puddle is insane. I actually really like that. Because it just really helps with wave clear. And then also having that Flame Ignite on the reload is super nice as well. If enemies are getting a little too close, you have a chance of really taking them out at that point, which is really, really nice for safety. Now for this, we could go Curse as well. Curse is really nice, especially when an enemy is cursed and dies and you have the ability to have them explode on death. That is also a great way to wave clear as well. So mixing that with the Fire Puddle is actually really, really nice. You will clear quite a bit of enemies. But I do also want to get the dodge chance. So there are two different security systems, if you will, in the game. There's dodge, which means that you technically get hit, but you dodge it so you don't take damage. And then from there, there is also shield, a holy shield. The thing is that when holy shield uncharges, so by that I mean that when you get hit, when the shield is struck, you will lose a charge. And then from there, you're vulnerable. So shield is really nice for like those oh crap moments where it's like, oh no, this is really bad. Whereas dodge is more frequent and therefore something that I tend to invest more in. Now, shields can regenerate. That is the nice thing about them. So once you lose it, it can come back. And you can make it so that way the speed of that cooldown is increased, and thus it can only take around 30 seconds to get that shield charge back. But if you're being swarmed and you lose that shield, you're in a lot of trouble. So that's where dodge really comes in handy. Now, let's see here. Let's do fast bullets, pyromancy, crit. You know what? I want to do smart. So I want to try to level things up as much as possible so I can get as much in the way of ability cooldown and what have you as possible. Also, reload speed. The reload speed on this weapon isn't the slowest in the world, but it's also not that quick, and you can take a fair amount of hits before it fully charges again. And it makes sense too. It balances out. It really balances out the speed to which you could fire out, the consistency to which you could fire out, and just the huge magazine that you have. Okay, we will go for this Pierce here. Let's see, dodge, reload, attack speed, that would be handy. Yeah, let's go for that. Now, I'm not saying that this build and some of the things I pick are for sure 100% the best. I've min-maxed it, done all the science on it, but it's basically something I've been currently testing and still testing that seems to be quite fun, that I really enjoy using. And it worked for me to get Cascade through the Burning Forest 4 to unlock this character, as well as to get this far with this character now. Dodge, so dodge increase. You know what, curse chance, I like that. I curse you, and I curse you. Everyone getting cursed. I'm the Oprah of cursing. Okay, I want to get the damage, and then I'm going to go for the ability cooldown. Actually, we have 2 ability cooldowns, so I'll hit both of those. Now, I will say that this may look currently pretty easy. It will get a lot harder. There is a sudden spike that does tend to happen when you jump into a higher difficulty that you'll eventually feel. And boy, will you feel it. Let's see, so dodge increases your reload speed. Genius, that feeds into rich. Ashes gain purple XP chance, double XP chance. Or juggle. Juggle would be nice too. Dodge would be nice. Well, you know what? Actually, we get the reload speed here, plus we get the delay before curse activation is reduced. So let's do that one. That one's even better, because that's a twofer. Being able to strike multiple enemies is so nice. Also, there was a recent update to the game, because I'm playing this before release, and so with that you will notice that icons have changed already, which is really cool to see. I really like the icons. Yeah, let's go with Cursed Explosion. Not going to worry about the ashes right now. Ooh, actually though, I will take the magnet. White Phosphorus, Igniting Reload. Yeah, let's do Vulnerability. And we'll do Compression. And I will say too that in this game you can actually see dodge really working, which is really nice to see, because in some games, like RPG games and stuff like that, you'll go through and be like, okay, sure, let's invest in dodge and just see what happens. And you're like, is it working? I have no idea. But with this game, you can actually tell, which is very nice. Really, for anything, like if you increase anything, you can actually see it. And that's really nice. Get that damage boost. Keep working our way down this way. Okay. We could do piercing. Piercing for this is nice as well as bounce. I mean, if you can get bounce, if you can get lightning with chain lightning upgrade, that is really nice as well. Let's see, hunger for knowledge. Apply burn after reload. Increase our shooting range is not terrible either. You know what, let's gain a shield. Just as backup to the dodge. Get a nice boost to attack speed. Actually, we'll pick up range down this way. Still keeping my eye out for ability cooldowns, which you can also get when those traits come up when you level up. But if you notice, I don't have a lot of rerolls, unfortunately. That's something I could probably try figuring out via weapon. But just kind of running with what I have right now. And I love the fact that it has elements of a looter shooter with the different weapons and different rolls on weapons, and the fact that you can recycle weapons for Ash, which is used to upgrade and, you know, upgrade your weapons and change stats on weapons and everything. So it's quite the nice system. All right, we'll head over here. A few things that doesn't hurt to pick up. Ooh, and another shield charge. Well, let's... yeah, we'll go down first. Okay, Genius. We could do Shooting Range, Hunger for Knowledge. We could also throw in Chill. Again, having all of these, there's actually an achievement for getting all 4 of the special abilities, Cryomancy, Electromancy, you know, and stuff like that, like Pyromancy, and so the fire, the ice, the electricity, and there's one other one that I'm now suddenly blanking on. But when you get all 4 of those, you actually get the mage achievement. And I will say Chill does come in very handy, even if you just have the base level version where it's just the Chill chance and that's about it. Because one, you can build up the stacks of Chill very quickly on enemies due to the type of weapon that we're using. But also on top of that, it just slows enemies down. So if you have, you know, a concern with getting swarmed too quickly, this can help out, especially during boss fights where it's very easy to get swarmed because you're locked into that rectangular, you know, box basically. So you know what? Do I want to or do I want to reroll? Let me try to reroll. We could do the lightning. That's quite nice. I never do ram because I never feel like I have enough dodge charges to really make this beneficial. If I had like 3, 4, or so on dodge charges, I would probably do ram because that would be pretty fun. But I just don't feel a need for it. Yeah, let's do electrify just to go with the Tesla. Because it would be nice to also get chain lightning. That way we continue to wave clear. Especially during the boss fights. You know, I will say it's so nice when they're just right next to each other. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, feels good, man. Go for some of that XP as well. Yeah, I am really thoroughly impressed with the details of this game, the layers, the difficulty of it. Because to a point, it is actually pretty difficult. Especially if you're really used to Vampire Survivors and games like that, where there is, of course, a similarity. But there's also a clear difference. One, you're using one weapon instead of many, and two, you're trying to really then build out and see what you can do to enhance that weapon enough where it makes it feel like you have multiple weapons. Hey, we have an ability cooldown, so I'm charging over to there. Ooh, get that magnet. Bottomy, excuse me. XP. Bird now has a crit chance and crit damage that are equal to your weapon's crit chance and crit damage. Which, what is mine at? 5%, but the damage is at 162%, so that's solid enough. Crit chance isn't huge, but the damage is nice. Let's see, double, you know what, let's just go for Genius for the synergy. There we go, so you level up again. I'm not worried about this one. We could up our damage overall. That actually probably would not be a bad idea, because again, there is going to be a difficulty spike. Now there's also Nerd Rage, which can be nice to add on additional damage. On each 250 picked XP orb gain, you gain 1% damage. There's also more powder. Damage 30%, knockback 10%, which knockback would be nice. Yeah, I feel like the 30% we're going to be able to utilize right away. Getting this to 30% is going to take some time, if then, because I think the highest I've gotten this to is like 4 or 5. So I'll probably go with more powder here. Still would like to have a faster cooldown. I actually had our ability at one point where it was at a second. If you can get your ability cooldown to 1 second, there is actually an achievement for it, and I do have it. There we go. Divine Rush, let's get that. We'll go for this pickup as well. Oh, we're schmoving now. Yeah, there's actually an achievement too for getting your movement speed to 13. I kept getting it in one run to 12.9. I kid you not, 12.9 throughout the entire run, and I'm like, what the heck, man? And I couldn't get it any higher at the time, but I did finally get it, I think, the run or two after that. But it was insane just looking at that going, really? Really? By 0.1? Ugh. Alright, so let's go Inner Energy, ability cooldown reduction 45%. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to feed into our ability. Or our ultimate, if you will. Yep, get attack speed up. As you can see, the Tesla just latches on to multiple enemies at once, and it's so quick. Yeah, we're starting to see a difficulty spike already now. We're seeing more enemies come in, bigger enemies at that. Luckily, we have the damage for them thus far. Go for another reload. There we go. Ooh. And another ability up here. Oh, yes, here we go. Here's Ascended. After ability activation gain, damage 30%, reload speed 30%, attack speed 30%, move speed 15%. This bonus lasts 5 seconds. But, like I mentioned before, is that if your ability is going off quicker than 5 seconds, it will just refresh the Ascended buff. And you can see it down below here, where my cursor is. Hey, big boys, how's it going? Those exploders, though. They always make me dash out too soon. Because I'm freaking out like, oh no, the circle... But the thing is, it's delayed, so the circle happens, and then the AoE spreads out, starting from them outward. And it's so easy to then dash back and get hit by it because you're like, oh, wait. You don't recognize initially that there's a delay there. So it's easy to trick you. Firestorm. Every 5 seconds, spawn 3 fire circles that deal burn damage and apply 3 burn stacks at random. You know what's interesting? I've only ever, I think, seen this once. So I think I'm going to nab it just to try it out. Because otherwise, I'd probably go with superconduction. So cooldown is reduced by your ability cooldown. Oh, well, okay, that's really sick, actually, because we're already feeding into our ability cooldown because we're focusing a lot of attention on the ability. So now to have something that synergizes that well with it, beautiful. So could Railgun plus Firestorm be the build? Okay, so we're going to up our crit chance and damage here. Only 1% and 2%, but, you know, every little bit helps. Look at the number of Firestorms. Holy cow. Because our ability cooldown is so low, because we're trying to get Railgun to just constantly pop off, we're seeing here tons of Firestorm everywhere now. That's really cool. Now, the other thing I want to start doing is start aiming for health. If we can double our health or anything like that, we should probably do that. And the reason why is because every 2 hearts means another projectile for Railgun. Let's see here, shooting range, reload speed. You know what, let's just do a reroll. Let's see what we can get here, if anything. Could do Nerd Rage, just to add on additional damage. Oh, superconduction here. Dealing 25% of lightning damage to target area, okay. For the AoE, let's do it. This would be handy, again, for like the oh crap moments where we really need it. So let's go ahead and grab that. Whether it's because we get caught in an explosion or because of a boss, whatever it may be. Or get super swarmed. But yeah, because we have 4 hearts, we only have 2 railgun projectiles. But we'll be able to add more here. Like I said, I've gotten up to 4. Yeah, I could picture Firestorm being great against a boss because of you being locked into that specific space. So just let Firestorm burn them. Okay, where do we want to go from here? You know what? Let's pick up the range and then we'll go to dodge. Ability cooldown. That also feeds nicely into everything we're trying to do. Reload speed. Burn would do more damage even. But you know what? Let's do Faceless Rage. At this point, I think now we're just testing to see how many Firestorms we can get. We already know we can get Railgun to fire off like mad, as we can see right now. Alright, we will go up to the crit chance and damage here, especially as it is a legendary. 5%, 10%, heck yeah. Try to collect some more XP here. Again, I would like to try to get some more health, if we can get lucky. Blue dodge, go for that. Yeah, after playing this character, I'm now super intrigued on the other two. Like, Cascade is quite a bit of fun. Solara is a ton of fun, especially with this build. So I can only imagine the other two. And what's nice is that at least with Cascade and with Solara, I can build them very differently. So, you know, there's still that challenge of like, okay, what should I do here? What can I play around with? So let's see here. Nothing for health, unfortunately. 50% chance to apply burn on enemies in the pickup range after reload. Shield charges, so we can get another shield charge. So 3 shield charges plus the dodge. You know, to be honest, I haven't tested split shot, and I'm not exactly sure how that would work out. I guess that would just give us another beam of electricity? Question mark? Let's see, range. Your damage is increased by half of your shooting range. So more damage. We could do burn, shield. Well, let's do damage. We're going through elites pretty well, but I just want that for safety at this point. Yeah, see, it spreads out. It's that weird delay. So very tricky. And when their abilities overlap, oh man, do they suck. It can be really annoying because you've already burned through one of your dashes to get out of there, but you're still in part of one or the others. And so yeah, it gets you every time. We're getting pretty lucky, I would say, also with some of these altars. Yes, here we go. So Giant will give us plus 3 HP, and then there's another one that will double all HP. So that's quite nice. So we're going to do that. then Holy Shield is active, gain reload speed, move speed, attack speed, and dash charges, which at this point, because we have like 3 shields now, this is very handy, especially as it gives us another dash charge. So let's go ahead and build into that. And then let's see, reload. Don't care about reload so much now. I think we're looking good. Pickup range, not really concerned. I think at this point it's either Wrath, which gives us shield charges, or White Phosphorus. Let's go with shield charge. We have Piercer, Nerd Rage. You know what? I think I'm going to go... When we get hit, 50% reload speed, attack speed, dash cooldown reduction. Now, see, I'm curious on this. It says when you get hit. So does that mean when you actually take damage? Because technically, at least visually, we get hit, but we can dodge. So we'll get hit, but we'll take no damage, and it'll just say dodge. So will Hysterics proc then too? And even then, is it a hit on anything? Like shield as well, so if it hits the shield? Or does the character themselves have to take the hit? That I'm curious on and don't know, but we can see if we notice a difference here. Like I said, I'm just continuing to test and see. Nice, so we have a good, I would say a pretty good buildup of dodge. And we also now have Force Shield. So I think we're looking pretty good. Also, what's cool is you can dodge when you have a shield. Oh, the good old slime boss. Who you defeat and you think you've won, but then all of a sudden more pop out. And then more. And then more. Flubber's back and it's pissed. Alright, there we go. Boss lay melted. I'll take that. Now, keep in mind too that with the weapon that I have, it's not only a Telsa gun that's fairly well maxed out, like I've improved it a lot, and it's not only a legendary, but it's also a tier 4. So different tiers drop at the different tiers of difficulty. So if you're playing through a difficulty 1 scenario, you're going to get all level 1 or tier 1 weapons, whether they be rare or common or legendary or what have you. And then so on and so forth. You take on scenario 2 or difficulty 2, then you get tier 2 weapons. So with this Telsa gun, it's a 4. Let's see. Blazing Power, summon an additional lightning bolt, which then adds on a little bit more area of effect for electricity. You know what, let's just do igniting reload. Well, base damage plus 10%. Enemies receive 5% more damage. This feels a little more confusing. Like, I guess it's adding 10 base damage onto the weapon, and then enemies just happen to take 5% more. It's weirdly worded, I guess, for me. But we'll go with it. More damage, I'm fine with that. I appreciate the pew-pews. I will not complain. And look at the railgun. Now we have 4 because of our hearts. And the range of it is insane, too. Now, what's really neat is that there is a trait or a card that you can get where if any projectile goes off the screen, it comes back the opposite side, as if you're playing like Galaga or something like that, or like Space Invaders. It's so wild because I've not seen a roguelike do that before, and I'm surprised at it now that I see it. But it's really sick, and I'm really intrigued on if you can get that, if that works for the railgun as well. Because if that's the case, and you have the railgun projectiles coming through the other side, at that point, you not have 4 projectiles, you technically have 8. If you think about it. So, like, that to me seems bananas if you get that lucky. Because especially with the Telsa gun, you're really not getting projectiles to leave the screen because of how it works. Oh, doubles all your HP bonuses. Now, this is what I was talking about, the vitality. I'm going to do that because I want to see how it impacts Railgun. This, I'm hoping, will be epic. And then Lightning Bolt now causes a chain lightning that strikes the nearest enemy. Let's do that. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. That's very nice. So, we picked up Giant. We picked up Vitality, which increases the number of railgun projectiles we can do. We're running with the Telsa gun. We've put as much as we can into the ability cooldown, which impacts how often Telsa gun goes off, but also impacts Firestorm, which we were lucky to pick up as well. And that creates these spinning vortexes that do constant damage to any enemy caught inside of it. We've put quite a bit into our overall damage, dodge, as well as shields. We have 4 shields. So we can take a hit, we can dodge a hit, and we can deal out a bunch of damage now. You know, I'll pick up regeneration as well. So if we happen to go through our shields and lose a heart, we can gain it back so we can regain a projectile. Do I think we absolutely need it? Probably not the way it's looking, but still, at least you know that that's an option if you decide to try to play around with this build yourself. And once again, one of the big things that's really helping us is Ascended, because we're constantly refreshing it. Because our ability cooldown is so low. Or I should say so small. You know, we're just a turret, just living our lives, being a turret, as one does. By the way, if you're sensitive to flashing lights, I do apologize. These types of games are probably not the best for you. Nice, we'll get some more range, because why not? It's here. I'm going to go for that dodge next. It's up to the right. We could up our critical chance and damage, range, reload speed. Yeah, I mean, out of everything here, I think at this point, that's probably the most beneficial because we're going to be coming up against the boss here in about 30 seconds. Oh, I am so curious on what's going to happen to the spider boss here. Hi, Demon Lord. I'm gonna let you finish, but hold up one second. Summon an additional lightning bolt. You know what? Let's do chill just for funsies. Let's do... I mean, the thing with the Telsa weapon is that you don't often... Like, I like Frostpath a lot. I like it on a shotgun. I like it on some of the SMGs. But it really depends on how big of a magazine you have. Like for the Telsa gun, because it takes so long before you reload, it's not as well worth it. It can still help in a moment, but it's not going to be as active, so it won't be as effective for you. So I think I'm just gonna, well, 4 max ammo pickup range, ricochet, I guess, at this point. Also, just so you know that as you change difficulty, enemies typically have at least one additional attack that they didn't have prior, which I appreciate. I like when games do that to change things up a little bit. So far, the spider here has done every attack as normal, but this one here, this is the new one. And almost melted. 9.7 million damage. Holy cow. Sure, bouncer, why not? There we go. And there we have it, a Solara build that is quite fun and devastating, especially toward the end game. But once again, try it out for yourself, test it, play around with it, tweak it, and then share your discoveries in the comments section of this video. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.